Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're diving into one of the most haunting mysteries to ever shake a quiet American town. It began with a single sound in the dead of night, a knock on a door that should have never been opened. What followed would unravel secrets, expose lies, and remind everyone that evil sometimes hides in plain sight. This is the story of the midnight knock, and the question that haunted a town: who opened the door? It happened in the small town of Willow Creek, Oregon. A peaceful place with one main street, two diners, and neighbors who still waved to each other. But on a cold October night in 2014, that sense of safety vanished. At exactly 12:07 a.m., a call came into the local sheriff's department. The voice on the line was shaky. A man named Daniel Reese, reporting that his wife, Emily, was missing. He said she had gone to answer a knock on their front door and never came back. Deputies arrived within minutes. The front door was unlocked, the porch light still on, and a mug of tea sat half finished on the living room table. There were no signs of struggle, no broken glass, no forced entry, nothing. Only silence and the faint smell of rain drifting in through the open door. Investigators started by canvassing the neighborhood. No one had seen anything, but several neighbors reported hearing the same thing: two soft knocks around midnight. No car engines, no footsteps, no shouting. Just those two quiet knocks echoing in the rain. Detectives began with Daniel Reese. He was calm, maybe too calm, a 36-year-old electrician married to Emily for 9 years, no criminal record. He told police he'd been asleep when he heard the knocks. Emily had gone to check, thinking it might be a neighbor in trouble. She never came back. His story never changed, but something about his tone unsettled the officers. He didn't ask where his wife might be. He didn't ask if she was alive. By morning, the house had become a crime scene. Forensics moved in, photographing every inch. Then they found something, faint muddy footprints just inside the door, leading toward the kitchen, but stopping abruptly on the tiled floor. The prints didn't match Daniel's shoes. They were smaller, narrower, likely a woman's, but Emily's slippers were still by the couch. Whoever those prints belonged to had been inside before she disappeared. The case quickly spread through town. Everyone had their theories: a stranger, a kidnapping, maybe a burglary gone wrong. But detectives found no ransom note, no forced entry, no evidence of theft. Emily's purse, phone, and keys were untouched. It was as if she had stepped outside and vanished into the darkness. Then came the first break. 3 days after Emily's disappearance, a security camera from a gas station 2 blocks away captured something strange. At 12:13 a.m., just minutes after the reported time of the knock, a dark, colored pickup truck passed by. The truck slowed briefly near the intersection, then turned off its headlights and vanished down a side road. The footage was grainy, but investigators enhanced the image. They couldn't make out the driver, but the truck had a cracked left taillight. Police issued a county-wide alert. Within hours, they found a similar pickup abandoned near the edge of Willow Creek forest. The keys were still in the ignition. When they searched the vehicle, they found a torn piece of fabric in the back seat, pale blue with a floral pattern. Emily's family confirmed it matched the robe she'd been wearing that night. The discovery turned the search into a full-scale investigation. Over 50 volunteers combed the forest. Drones were used. Dogs tracked scents that faded near the riverbank. Days turned into weeks, and hope began to slip away. The sheriff told the press, "Someone out there knows what happened, and that someone is still in Willow Creek." Detectives re-examined Daniel's timeline. His phone records showed he had called his brother around 11:50 p.m., about 20 minutes before the knock. The call lasted just under a minute. When asked what they talked about, he said just work stuff. But when police questioned his brother, he denied ever speaking to him that night. That was the first crack in Daniel's story. Search warrants followed. Detectives collected his phone, laptop, and work van. On his computer, they found deleted emails, messages between Daniel and a woman named Claire Owens. She lived just 2 streets away. The emails revealed a months-long affair, one that Emily had discovered a week before she vanished. According to a friend, she'd been planning to leave him. Daniel was brought in again. He denied everything. But when officers told him they had found his fingerprints on a note discovered in Claire's trash, a note that reads she knows it's done, his confidence faltered. Still, without a body, the sheriff's office couldn't charge him. They needed more. Then came the discovery that changed everything. 6 weeks after Emily disappeared, a local hunter found a small, weathered cabin deep in the forest, one that didn't appear on any property map. The cabin's door was padlocked, but the windows were covered from the inside. Deputies forced entry. The air inside was stale, thick with dust and damp wood. In the center of the room was an old wooden chair, rope fibers still tied to the legs. On the floor was Emily's wedding ring, partially buried in the dirt. Forensics found fingerprints on the chair, Daniel's and someone else's. The second set matched a man named Kyle Mercer, a friend of Daniel's from work who had gone missing 2 days after the investigation began. Detectives had questioned him early on, but he'd claimed to know nothing and left town shortly after. Now, his truck matched the one seen on camera, the one with the cracked taillight. Investigators pieced together what had likely happened. Daniel had convinced Kyle to help him stage Emily's disappearance. The midnight knock was never from a stranger, it was part of a plan. But something had gone wrong in that cabin. Maybe Emily fought back. Maybe Kyle panicked. Either way, Daniel needed the story to disappear just as she had. A week later, police received an anonymous tip that led them to an old quarry 10 miles south of town. There, beneath layers of gravel and concrete, they found human remains. Dental records confirmed what everyone had feared. It was Emily Reese. The autopsy revealed she had died from blunt force trauma to the head. Time of death placed it within hours of her disappearance. Daniel Reese was arrested that evening while leaving his workplace. He showed no emotion as officers led him away in handcuffs. During interrogation, he finally broke. He admitted to confronting Emily after she discovered his affair. He claimed he just wanted to scare her, that Kyle had been helping him make her disappear for a while, until things calmed down. But when Emily resisted, things spiraled out of control. Kyle had hit her. Daniel panicked, and together they tried to cover it up. Afterward, Daniel turned on Kyle and disposed of him too. Kyle's body was later found in a shallow grave behind the same cabin. The trial took nearly a year. The prosecution built its case on the digital trail, the fingerprints, the fabric, and Daniel's own confession. The defense argued that the confession was coerced, but the evidence was overwhelming. Daniel Reese was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life without parole. The town of Willow Creek was never the same. The Reese house was sold, the front door replaced, but people still say that on quiet, rainy nights, if you listen closely, you can hear 2 soft knocks echoing down Maple Street, a reminder of the night when trust was broken by the sound of a stranger at the door. Years later, the sheriff who led the investigation said one thing still haunted him. On the night of the crime, officers had found muddy footprints leading from the door to the kitchen, smaller than Daniel's, not matching Emily's. Forensic analysis had shown they didn't belong to Kyle either. To this day, no one knows whose footprints they were. Maybe it was just a mistake in the evidence chain. Maybe someone else had been there that night. Someone neither Daniel nor Kyle ever mentioned. The official case file marks the mystery as unresolved, But the sheriff's words linger in every report. Sometimes, in the quietest towns, the darkest secrets don't die with the guilty. They wait for someone to knock again. And that's how a midnight knock shattered an entire town's sense of peace. What began as a simple sound became the key to uncovering lies buried beneath years of deception. The truth wasn't in who knocked, it was in who answered.